Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. The markets are crashing. It's not only crypto, most markets are affected. So there are things I need to get a really good overview of all markets. So I will update these in our communities today. I'll probably also update the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, and so on for our gold members today, just because it's sort of a special day. I'll do that, as I get an overview of all the markets. And there is obviously, it all started with the Japanese market. You might have heard about it, but that's stuff that we don't need to talk about here in this video. This is chart analysis, so we'll just focus on the charts, ignoring the noise surrounding it. Now, this is where the key levels come into play, the key levels for risk management. Bitcoin hasn't really sustained yet below 50,600. But we have seen a break below it. Okay, so there's been a break below it, not a sustained break. So technically speaking, we could still be in the previously communicated wave count. But looking at the microstructure, which we're going to talk about in this video briefly, my take is that at least the larger wave 4 correction is unfolding. Yes, we are oversold on the daily time frame. I have therefore bought overnight. I've purchased a small Bitcoin position, but the movements that we've seen, exactly because of that, I've kept it small so far. As I said in my, I do communicate when I buy my own positions. I always say, people should trade their own plan. So I'm not, don't assume anybody wants to copy these, because that's based on my personal situation, my personal risk profile, and so on. But I just bought small spot. And the reason I bought small is because it is catching a falling knife, right? And the positions have to be small when catching a falling knife. We're still at a very high price compared to where we were, for example, down here. I did put it into writing yesterday on Discord and highlighted that the move down reminds me a little bit of the FTX collapse. But the situation was in a sense a little bit different, because the prices were much lower. So I also bought a larger position back then. Now I am well positioned on the Bitcoin side and will use sell-offs to buy more, gradually buying more as we go lower, pyramiding in. That is a golden technique in crypto. It's really about pyramiding in. So when we break that support, I will probably stop. Well, I haven't bought today, so I will probably not do anything until the market has stabilized a little bit, then buy a little bit more, and then just pyramiding in, I don't know, maybe down to 30K or so. For Bitcoin, I don't use a stop. I just use position size management to basically, adjust the risk and manage the risk. And I would encourage everybody to wait for the market to stabilize a little bit before making decisions about entering the market. But that's up to you personally, because especially when we talk about altcoins, the situation is so dynamic. It is important to let the market stabilize a little bit. Lots of uncertainty. It can be a day, or it might be a week where you don't want to trade at all, or where you just, again, do a bit of pyramiding in. But I only do this for Bitcoin, because altcoins are high risk and they are much less clear when we talk about the long-term chart, okay? So that's just my thoughts. I mean, I will provide many more updates about this sort of throughout the day on Discord specifically. Like, all this stuff surrounding it is typically stuff for the membership. If you're interested, you can check out the link in the description. But my take is that we're in this larger wave 4. So I need to decide if I still see this as a 1-2-1-2 setup. That's not so important in the short term. I will probably make a few changes to the chart throughout the day as the situation develops. As you know, with analysis, it is not set in stone. It has to be revised when new data comes in. And the new support area I put onto the chart, and also that might change. I will update. Again, the situation is dynamic. I think MCO is very flexible. I do provide updates on the weekend. We do provide updates multiple times a day, especially for Bitcoin. So as that new data comes in, I might have to make some adjustments. So stay up to date or stay tuned for updates. But I just want to say that so you don't think, okay, this is now the new scenario. It has to be like that. Well, the situation is very complex. I need to get an overview of the different indices as well in the stock market, because it is something bigger here. But nevertheless, what are the new levels? Well, the thing is, again, we broke below that 50,600 level briefly, but because of the microstructure, I assume that we are at least in the larger waveform. Okay, so that we have either a 1-2, 1-2 or a large 1-2 setup down here that was back in 2023, and then a larger third wave, and this here is just a complex fourth wave. This is best case, okay? This is best case. There is another scenario, I think I shared it in the last update, which is this long triangle. We have talked about all of these scenarios before. They are nothing new. We talked about them as alternatives, but I always said, let's get support to break first before we focus on these, okay, from an analysis point of view. So we now have a break of support. So assumption is that we are at least in the wave 4, but we will have to see how the market reacts to this pivot around 37,826 and 43,026. This is sort of how I see it at the moment. Looking at the shorter time frame, you can see this is the micro pattern, which is very dynamic, but at the moment the idea is that we are still in a decline. Yeah, so I don't think the third wave here within the third wave is finished. Could still go lower based on the microstructure itself. It is impulsive to the downside, and the wave 4, the internal wave 4 support is likely between 53,600 and 54,970, and then we could get another low and another lower high and another lower low, and that might send us into this support region I just showed you on the daily chart below roughly 38k and 43k. That's pretty much it. That means, in simple words, we still have no confirmation of a low. That's why I have been so focused on watching for breaks of resistance. They haven't happened, so the trend is still down from the 29th of July high. The trend is still down, and the trend needs to turn around, or to give us evidence that the trend is turning around. We need a break above 54,970. So until I see that, expectations are clearly for further lower prices. That's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.